Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I do believe that this is going to be the most exciting webinar to date. And Vicki and I always talk, and I say that every time, but truly, my focus is going to be our local employment household dynamics partnership. But before I start in that, because it's longitudinal in nature and it will take a couple of sessions to get through it, we have a new data tool since the last time I spoke with you. And this data tool has been the most requested, and you probably are getting the same type of inquiries that we're getting. Everybody wants to know about the millennials, the 18 to 34 age cohort. And the reason is because the youngest of the baby boomer generation, those 19 generations from 46 to 64, is approaching 50. So there needs to be a new cohort to replace the baby boomers in the business world. So that's the 18 to 34. So the Census Bureau has created a data tool in its Census Explorer series. And I think you're going to love this one. It won't take us a very long time, but I want to explore it with you first before we get into our business of the day. When you go to census.gov and you put your data tool on data, you go to data tools and apps, and then you go down when the box enlarges to Census Explorer. And when you click on Census Explorer, then a number of the Census Explorer data tools, and the most recent, of course, is always first. And here we have Census Explorer, young adults, then and now. And then a short explanation, do more young adults today in your area live with their parents than in previous decades? Do they own their own homes? And so this explores the 18 to 34 cohort from 80, 90, and 2000. And so this is going to be, this is a little different. So you click on that, Census Explorer, and then you'll get this wonderful little graphic to let you know you're going to a new world of youth. And then we're going to click on Explore. You'll be able to get these data by state, county, or metro area. So let's start with Florida first. And you're going to have to X this little box out. Now, what you see, and look at this, we're going to make comparisons by the state and the nation. And what you're going to see first, what the population is between 18 to 34. And as you can see, it is smaller than it was previously. And when you put your cursor over the various bars, then it is going to provide you with a statistic. So you're going from 80, you can make a comparison from 80 all the way to the 2013, which is the 5-year estimates for the American Community Survey. Then the next characteristic is going to look at median earnings. And as you will see, that in Florida as well as the nation, that median earnings for this cohort are less than they have been previously. Living with a parent. I demonstrated this at a workshop on Friday, and the entire room went up in a roar, and I made an assumption that because there were parents who did not need us to tell them that more of 18 to 34-year-olds are living at home than they have previously. Living in poverty, as you can see, what a change decades have made. Never married. Look at this is a major change, and how it changed over time. But they are better educated than this age cohort has been in previous decades. This is a non-Hispanic white, and I get a lot of questions. This is the only, of course, the non-Hispanic white population is the majority population, but this is the only racial group that we have in the Census Explorer on this data tool, and because everything else we just say minorities. So many people have made a suggestion, and we have sent it forward, that to include all the racial groups and Hispanic origin in this cohort. Foreign-born population, as you can see, is greatly changed, it's greatly increased. So many of the millennials are foreign-born, and higher in Florida than in the nation. But look what hasn't changed too much. Drove a car, truck, van, or carpool to work. Statistically, it's almost about the same. And that's interesting, considering all the other major changes that have occurred. But look at this. Speak a language at home other than English. How that has changed. And the number of veterans in this cohort. And look at employment. Unbelievable. And living alone. Virtually about the same. So now, let's add something to this. We looked at the state, we looked at the nation. Let's put in Hillsborough County. And as you start to key, Hillsborough comes up in 2 places. So now, in this data tool, we can make a comparison of millennials in the county, in the state, and in the nation. So as we scroll through the characteristics of the group, now we can make some serious comparisons. And you can also look at metro areas. Most of the marketing and advertising agencies have what's called DMAs, designated marketing areas. And for the most part, they are somewhat equal to metro areas. So they always look at data from the metro area standpoint. So this way, you will be able to help anyone who's looking for metro area data and looking at this age cohort just with this simple data tool. And as we scroll through Hillsborough County, you can see that the county is more in tune when it comes to a bachelor's degree with the nation than it is, and is much higher than it is in the state in this cohort. This is a wonderful tool, very simple to use, and very, very useful, because all the focus now is on this cohort. So rather than having to go into American Community Survey, because our age increments are different, and we don't have the 18 to 34 in the way it is here on this data tool. So everyone is just really thrilled, and I was very pleased to demonstrate this for you today. And I know this is something you can actually go to your computers immediately and start to use. But what I love about this is that you can click on Show a Full Report, and what you will get is Hillsborough County, and you will get a full report of what we've just seen. But what's really great about this, you can also make some changes to the report where you just want to see a table view or a map. So that's pretty neat. That's a very useful tool. And I know that many of you will be using this tool as you go forward. So this is a tool I don't think we have to do a whole lot of demonstrating. It's just so simple. So now you know. We can now discuss the millennials. Today we're going to start in this series with a program that most people are not very familiar with. It's called Local Employment Dynamics. And within it is what we call the longitudinal Employer Household Dynamics Partnership. And I'm going to show some slides to talk about the program, and then we're going to actually go into the program. This is a partnership. It has public use data and some of the best data tools I think that you will ever see. And I want to just discuss what it is, and as someone said to me, why would I care about it? This program answers a number of questions. Which industries in my region are hiring older workers, or maybe younger workers, or workers without a high school diploma? What do these jobs pay? Where do the workers employed downtown live? What share of workers employed in my community also live there? What share of workers with a short commute have a college degree? Where are North Dakota's oil and gas workers coming from? Where are Michigan's auto workers going to? So this program is so versatile. This is going to end up being your go-to tool. And because of the many dynamics to it, you will be going back again and again and again to really become proficient with it. It's really a labor-intense program, but the amount of information that's available in the way that it is available is just unbelievable. I remember when I came to Census Bureau in the late 90s, and the program was in its infancy. We had to work with the governors because they were all reluctant because of their participation in the program to be partners with this, because they did not want to provide the Census Bureau with the kind of information that was needed to make this program successful. It has to be a Census Bureau state partnership, because we're looking at unemployment insurance information and information on firms. It is just unbelievable. So now I'm happy to report that we have all our states and our territories involved. These 3 wonderful data products have been developed, and this program is ready to go. We combine state records with other administrative census and survey records. They're from the Census Bureau as well as from other federal agencies. Then you can create these public stats on firms, establishments, and jobs and workers by the firm and person's characteristics. And it's really simple once you continue to work with it. Now, where does all these data come from? There's firm data that are on the various types of firms, not individual named firms, but the industry as a whole. There's jobs data, and there's person data. And all of this is linked with national jobs data. The firm data comes from the Quarterly Census of Employment and Wages survey. It comes from the economic survey data, and we have a number of economic surveys that we conduct monthly, quarterly, and annually. It comes from the Business Register. The jobs data comes from the unemployment insurance wage records, as well as from the Office of Personnel Management. And the personal data comes from federal records, and many of course, you know, this American Community Survey is our largest demographic survey, but we do take other demographic surveys. And all of this goes into this mix and comes out with these wonderful public use data products. So we're going to look at quarterly workforce indicators. That's the first place we're going to start. Next week we will look at the local employment household dynamics origin destination employment stats that will show the inflow and the outflow of employees. And then we'll look at job-to-job flows. That's being beta tested now, and it's just going to really be a good roundout for this program. So I'm going to skip all of this because I want to get into the tool. So I'm going to go back to census.gov. I'm in Firefox. Because of the nature of the program, sometimes Internet Explorer will stall it out. When you go to census.gov, scroll down to the very bottom of the page in the dark blue strip, and under Business and Industry, click on Local Employment Dynamics. And this is the main page for Local Employment Dynamics. There are several tools. There is the QWI that we talked about earlier, the Quality Workforce Indicators. And then there's On the Map. But we're going to start with the QW, the Quality Workforce Indicators. We're going to start here today because this particular tool is probably used more than any tool in this program. So we're going to look at Florida. And what's great about this is that we have a lot of indicators that we can look at. We have employment indicators, we have employment change indicators, we have for individuals as well as firms, as well as earnings. And when you look at the indicators, we'll be able to look at the beginning of the quarter employment counts, the end of the quarter counts, the full quarter, but there are stable counts, and stable means that people are they work the entire quarter, full-time workers. Then we can also look at that by individuals. So when we look at hires all count accessions, we're talking about those people that are new employees as well as those people who were recalled. Or we can separate those out into who were the new hires or who were people who were recalled by separation. But my favorite part of all of this, and we also can look at job creation. Many times local governments discuss and debate bringing in new businesses and what it's going to be and what it's going to contribute to the economy and to assist residents to get jobs. Now in this LEHD program, using these various tools with the quality workforce indicators as well as On the Map, we can see if in fact the people that are in that area are getting the jobs or are people coming in from someplace else to get those jobs. And we can look at earnings. So we're getting ready to have really, hold on to your hats, a lot of fun. Now once we develop our geography and we look at our indicator, then we can also take a look at, if we wanted to, some sub-geography. We can look at here are the filters. We can do counties, we can do metro areas, or we can use WIAs, workforce investment areas. And many of you that have worked in that area know that this replaced this was the Workforce Investment Act in the 90s. I think it was the second term of the Clinton administration, and this superseded the JTPA Act on job training, workforce investment areas. So you can actually use that as a filter within the state. Also, you can select, and we're going to use, we have counties here, you can also select a county and just look at that county separately. But we're going to first start with the state. So what you're looking at here, we didn't select any sub-geography in the state. We also, if we wanted to, we can take a look at the various industries based on the national, the North American Industry Classification Systems Code. And we can look at this by sector. So we can look at construction, Sector 23, or we can look at information, Sector 51. We can look at healthcare, which is Sector 62. So forth and so on, accommodation and food services, 72. We can look at any of those educational services. We can look at all of those. But right now, we're just going to look at it in general. We can also look at other filters on ownership, all ownership or just private ownership, the age of the firm and the size of the firm. These are all filters that you can use, as well as worker characteristics. We can look at sex and age, we can look at sex and education, and we can also look at this by race and ethnicity. But we're going to look at age, 14 to 18, all the way to 65 to 99. And as you will see, that in Florida, the highest number of workers are between 45 and 54. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, let's make a change here. And let's scroll down and look at full employment, and we consider stable employment. In other words, anybody, these are people that work the entire quarter. And what we want to look at, how that will change. As you can see, the 45 to 54, as well as the 55 to 64, they're close. The 35 to 44s are underneath them, and the 25 to 34s are underneath them. Now let's put gender in here. Let's just change the grouping to gender over age. Now, what are we looking at? What we see here is that generally men earn more than women. There we are. Men earn more than women in the state of Florida. Now what you will see is that with the males, you notice these spikes. And what these spikes represent, and you don't see that as much as it was one here in 2011, and then for the most part, women have gone flat. These spikes show bonuses. So not only are men making more, but men are getting bonuses where women are not. Now, how does that play out into all industries? Let's take a look in the state of Florida. Let's start out with construction. So in the construction industry, even though women are getting some bonuses, men are earning far more than women. So let's clear this one and just look at retail. Even in retail, men are earning more than women. So many of you say, well, probably, Marilyn, is because there are probably more men and women working. So let's look at that. Let's go up and look at some job counts. Wow, look at that. More women working. Let's look at beginning of the quarter employment counts. There's not too much, statistically, there's not too much difference. The only difference is in the disparity in pay. And that's what makes it really, really interesting, that you have this huge difference in the disparity, but you have more women working. Let's take a look at educational attainment and see if it does pay to stay in school. So we changed the grouping, and now we have that we show that in the state of Florida, people with a bachelor's degree are not necessarily on the top, but the people who have some college are on the top. And those that have a high school diploma and no college rate higher. Now, let's change states just on this particular quality workforce indicator and take a look at New York. We have a lot of Wall Street. And look at the difference. Because we're looking at a state that has a higher percentage of different industries where a bachelor's degree is required. So let's go back to Florida, our state. Now we look at educational attainment, and we want to, and somebody may want to know what sectors can people go into that will not that they're not really they don't really have to have a college degree. So let's go and look at the industries. Let's start with construction to see how many college graduates are hired in construction. And as you can see, when we look at bachelor's degree, it's way down the rung, even though we've already looked that people do get paid more. However, when it comes to what jobs are available in the various sectors, as you can see, you can go into construction just with a high school diploma and be guaranteed and get a job. It's not necessary to have a bachelor's degree. So let's look at some other sectors. Let's look at transportation and warehousing. And look where the bachelor's degree is. But on top, having some college or a high school diploma, your employment chances are better. And look, those who don't have a high school diploma in this particular sector are employed at the same rate as someone with a bachelor's degree. Let's look at another sector. Finance and insurance. Now look how that has changed. That is very necessary to have at least a bachelor's degree. Your job prospects greatly increase in this sector in the state of Florida. We'll try some others. Professional, scientific, and technical services. Absolutely must have a bachelor's degree. So let's look at a subsector in population. Let's look at Hillsborough County. You definitely must have a bachelor's degree in this sector. Change the sector. We're still looking in the county. Look at information. So having a bachelor's degree gives you a far better chance. So now, not only can you look at the state, but now you can drill down at the county level. If a person is looking to go into a certain area and they want to live in a certain place, what are my prospects? And what are the prospects in that area that I can find a job in a certain sector? So that is what the beauty of this tool truly is. And of course, you can get a report. You can get this full report that we're looking at. It can be downloaded into Excel. And you can change all of these workforce indicators. And what I strongly suggest to you is to spend some time in this particular tool and try different scenarios and to see what those changes are. Download that full report and go through all of this, even in ownership. Uh, private ownership, if we look at private ownership, and to see if there are any variables there, the size of the firm, if the firm is smaller, younger, and as you can see how that has changed over time. And if you see if the firm is smaller, as you can see, the gap between having some college and having a bachelor's degree in Hillsborough County in the information sector has closed over time. It was wider here, and then it closed. At one time, there was a spot here where it actually, not having a college degree, it just surpassed it just a little bit, but it's maintained the pace, then it widened, and then now it's narrowing again. I want to pause and see if anyone wants to ask me a question at this point. And I hope I'm looking at the chat the right way. So I'm going to give you an opportunity. Or you could just say, I'm here. The webinars are just so different. No, nobody wants to say anything. Okay, just checking. Let me know what you think about the tool so far. Are you understanding its value? Is it something that you feel that you'll be able to use and you'll be able to easily to navigate? We've worked on the tool over time to refine it, and it's absolutely just wonderful at this point. Let's change our group, and let's go to race. So now you're looking at your quarters, and as you can see, in some of the indicators, all of the data has not been loaded to make this more current, but it will all be loaded soon. That's what we're working for, to put all the data in here. So this tool will be one of the most up-to-date tools that we have. So now you can see how things will vary just based on race and employment. I'll take Hillsborough out and take a look at Florida. And then we'll remove the information, as you can see with this particular sector, what employment looks like. So we'll take information out. We'll also take out private ownership and put all ownership, and watch the numbers change. And of course, with the ethnicity, so it shows you by quarter what the employment is for people that are non-Hispanic, and that's across all races, and the people that are Hispanic origin, that's shown here. Because when we say ethnicity, we're saying who is Hispanic and who is not Hispanic, as is dictated by the law. So this is absolutely wonderful, and your ability to be able to work this tool very simply is going to increase. It can be a little intimidating in the beginning, but all of that changes over time. So now I want to go and and this is the overview of the Longitudinal Employer Household Dynamics Program, because it's not an American Fact Finder. It's its own portal with its own stats. So I want to take a look at another one of the tools in this program called On the Map. The On the Map provides us with the opportunity to do a complete analysis on a specific area. So I'm going to put here Hillsborough County. And search for Hillsborough County, Florida. And then it's going to let me know I can do Hillsborough County. If maybe some zip codes may be available, but it's showing that they're not available now. But as the tool is developed, I'll be able to do census tracts. I can do the Hillsborough County School District. So we're just going to do the county for now. And then once you do the On the Map tool, it's going to pinpoint our selection, and it's going to let us know, give us a little data on what the size of the area and how many census blocks are located within Hillsborough County. And then you're going to see the little tool, and it's going to say perform an analysis on this selection area. So in performing an analysis on the selection area, once we look at our analysis settings, you will see we're going to put our cursor here, and it'll tell us that, and for the home work area, an analysis can be performed on jobs or workers living or working in the selection area. To see results about workers residing in the selection area, we'll select home. To see who is employed in the selection area, then we'll select work. Now the analysis type is the area profile analysis generates results showing the location and characteristics of workers living or working in the selection area. The area comparison analysis generates results showing the count and characteristics of workers employed or living in locations contained by the selection area. The areas to compare drop-down determines the type of locations to be compared. The distance direction analysis generates results showing the distance and direction totals being between residence and employment locations for workers. Then there's a destination analysis, and that generates results showing the home or work destinations of workers employed or living in the selected area. And then there's the inflow and the outflow, which makes a wonderful map. It's one of my very, very favorite to look at. So we're going to see, just what are we going to be looking for here? We're going to do an area comparison, if we're going to do distance, and we're going to show them all. As you can see, we go all up to 2012, all primary jobs. So let's look at this basic one. Wow, here we are. So as we can see, we look at the year 2012, we're looking at hues of blue, and we're looking at the blue squares will tell you how many jobs per square mile, and the dots will tell you where 1 to 25 jobs are, the little tiny dot, like in this part of the county. The large one, 26 to 339 jobs, 392 to 1978. Here's just under 2,000 to over 6,200 jobs, and where there's 6,200 to more than 15,000. So you can see all of that here. And also what you will see, here's the I-4, here's I-75, here's I-275. And then over on the side, you will see the age of the workers. 58% of these jobs are for people that are 30 to 54 in Hillsborough County. And then we'll show you the earnings. So we click on earnings, and then the map is going to reposition to show you where those primary jobs are, where people are making that. If we click on here, then it shows you where people are making this, and we click here where they're making more than 3,300, and we can reset the table. And then we also have a bar chart, but we're going to move over. We want to widen the screen of our map because that's really our focus. And then we're going to try to do some zooming. And as you can see, as we zoom into our map, we're getting a bigger focus. And as you can see, our bigger dots are showing where we have few jobs and where we have a number of jobs. That is just a wonderful part about this on the map feature. And as we continue to zoom in, we will get more and more detail. So let's scroll up. So now you can see how the jobs are spread out, where the interstate is, because we're always worried in Florida about traffic patterns. So this provides us to let us know where these jobs are. So let's see if we want to change the settings. Let's take a look at distance and direction. Now this shows us that more people are traveling the distance. This is jobs by distance, the work from the census block, from the work site to home. They're traveling 10 miles, most are. And then next would be 10 to 24 miles. So let's take a look at those just traveling 10 miles. And now it shows. And now look what happens. When we want to take a look at those people that are traveling from work to home for 10 miles or less, it shows us on those primary jobs what the travel patterns are. If they're traveling north, how many are traveling north, how many are traveling northeast, how many are traveling east, how many are traveling southeast. All of this is comes out in your data. This shows you what those patterns are. When people leave work, trying to get home, where they're going. So this is a wonderful transportation tool. Absolutely, positively wonderful. And it lets you know what percentage and where they're going. Just that simple. And you have a radar chart. But just think, remember, we talked about, now we can take a look at the same thing on how people go from home to work, the distance, the direction. And look, less than 10 miles, how many people go from home to work? 44.9%. 10 to 24, 32%. And that's quite a high percentage in a high growth county. And look at all the jobs, all the dots. And you have a radar chart. You can change that to a bar chart. And the bar chart will show you how many are going and going where. All these can be downloaded and put into your report. Let's change the settings again. And this time we want to look at the inflow and the outflow of the jobs. So let me reduce this. What are we looking at? What this is showing us is that how many people are employed in the selection area, right? How many employed in the selection area but live outside of it? How many are employed and living in the selection area? So we see that in Hillsborough County, 316,000 people who live in the county work in the county. 236,000 people who live outside the county work in the county. And 160,000 people that live in the county work outside the county. Wow. What an unbelievable tool this is. If you're like me, you're clicking your heels 3 times and saying, where has this tool been all of my life? It's just absolutely fantastic. And when we show it to local governments, they just cannot believe it. And as you can see, you have a chart that shows the same thing that we have on the map. All these can be downloaded just as they are and placed in your reports. Absolutely fantastic. We also we can do a destination. Let's see. So now we're showing the job count by places and where workers are employed. 34.5% are in Tampa. The Brandon census designated place, you know, it's not a city, but it's a place that everybody knows that is a certain name, and so we do stats on it. So this shows you the distribution of the workers within the county and the surrounding areas. So, and it's all color coded for you, and of course you can change the color key. We're going to delve more into this tool for next week, and as you can see, we could make some changes if we wanted to. Look at not younger workers. The 30 to 54 group, which is the prime group. And it just tells us what we want to know in very simplified form, but very, very graphic. And I hate for us to have to end here, but I want to entertain some questions before we go today. And comments, observations, and just plain data insanity that can be expressed. I'll give you time to key your comments and your questions, or something else you want me to address today. I really want to provide you with a good overview of this tool, of both of these tools that are in this program. No chatting? Okay, let's change another setting then, just before we go. I was hoping I would get some feedback. You know, we were always looking at primary jobs, and we were looking at all workers. But this time, we're just going to look at 30 to 54 group. No, it's not giving me exactly what I want. No, it didn't reset for my age group. So I have to do that next week. I want you to use this data tool. We're going to go deeper into it next week. There are so many different components to it. We're really happy that it's working better than it's ever worked before. I do encourage you to use Firefox. You can always email me at marilyn.e.stephens@census.gov for your specific questions. And I'm going to look forward to seeing all of you next week. And please give me some last-minute comments about this. I would like to know your feedback. This is not a program that we demonstrate all the time. We're going to do it more and more because of all the enhancements, and it's actually really, really ready. So that everyone, there have been some challenges. If you get a huge delay when you're working with it, that's just the way it is, because there are just so many components that it has to, and so sometimes there's a long delay. Today we did not have that delay. I am very happy to report that it flowed quite smoothly, but we have had delays in the program. So before you go today, let me see. Maybe I'm not reading this right. Before you go today, please type a message in for me to let me know what you think about this so far. And of course, this is being taped, so you'll be able to go back and review the tape, but I will wait until we get next week's tape so you can put them both together, because I want to help you to develop a certain proficiency in this program. I think it'll be your best go-to program, especially as you overlay, look at the demographic side with the American Community Survey, and then see what the employment side is, and this gives you can get a truer picture of any type of area once you have both of these. I thank you for attending, and I look forward to working with you on next Monday. Have a wonderful week.